Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the third session of our three-part series, From STEMs to Social Media, How to Have a Strategically Successful Holiday Plan. This final session, Creating Happy and Repeat Customers, focuses on the customer experience. Keith Harbison, AIFD, FTD's Senior Manager of Quality, will be moderating today's session. As a quick housekeeping note, we will open up the session for questions at the end. If you have a question, simply type it in the chat box in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to submit your questions during the session. So let's get started, Keith.
Thanks, Janet, and welcome everybody. Welcome to our third part of a three-part series. And as Janet mentioned, today the panel is going to discuss how they bring customers into their store and what they do with them once they're there and how they can ensure to deliver a best-in-class customer experience. So I think it's kind of a nice way to round out the three different sessions. But before we get started, let's meet the panel. We have with us today three amazing florists that have been at this for quite a while. So I think they have some great insights. And panel, as I introduce you, please feel free to give a wave or say hello. So first we have Leah Van Ness. Hey, Leah.
Hi.
Leah's from Montville Florist. She is the co-owner there. And Montville Florist is in Uncasville, Connecticut.
So close. Uncasville.
Darn it. I was 2 for 3. All right. Sorry about that. Thanks for correcting me. Next we have Stacy Lee Banks. She is hi, Stacy.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
She is the co-owner of Lee's Flowers and Card Shop in Washington, D.C. And finally, we have Jonathan Morrissey. Hey, Jonathan. And Jonathan is the co-owner of Richmar Florist in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is kind of the in-store experience. And I want you to think pre-COVID. I know it's really hard to do since that's been ingrained in our brains for the last 12 months, but pre-COVID, what types of, call them tactics or techniques, or what did you do to bring customers into your store? What types of activities, and how did you promote your business in that sense? And we'll start with Leah.
We try to make the experience as welcoming as we possibly can. So I teach a lot of hands-on classes. I teach them for adults. I teach them for children. And whenever possible, if there is something that we can sort of give as an extra gift to our customers, we certainly will. So in 2019, we got a really good deal on mistletoe. So from Thanksgiving through the Christmas holidays, everyone that came into the store got a free little container of mistletoe. And so that really excited customers, and they told their friends, and then the friends came in. And so it was sort of a really goodwill opportunity that didn't cost a lot of money. This past St. Patrick's Day, we gave away little shamrocks because everyone should be Irish on St. Patrick's Day. So those are, a few of the things that we do. Also, any opportunity that to go in front of someone and talk about being a florist, talking about flowers, if it is an elementary school, if it is a church group, if it's the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary, anything like that, I will certainly take that opportunity to talk about why our store is unique and invite people to to come in the store and get some more information.
That's amazing. Really being engaged, I think, with the community, right, is the key. So Stacy, how about you? What do you guys do in DC?
Well, a couple years ago, we started a promotion called the Flower Power Happy Hour. And so from 4 to 7 every Friday, before COVID, we would have half price on all our flowers and 20% off our plants. And that became a Friday afternoon place to be in DC. And our street is kind of a street that has a lot of restaurants and bars. And so they started their evening at our happy hour. And a couple years ago, we were voted the best non-alcoholic happy hour by the one of our newspapers. So that was pretty amazing. So that drives a lot of people in, and even during COVID, people were calling to see if we still had our happy hour, which we kind of discontinued, but we'll probably start it back up again soon.
That's great. And who doesn't love a great happy hour? So
Right.
I can see how that would be a really valuable tool for you. And Jonathan, what are you guys doing in PA?
Well, we noticed the trend before COVID even started that we were becoming more of a logistic company than, a walk-in company. We started driving people, in the last 5 years more to, online sales, buffing up the website. We'll be rebuffing up that website again later this year after Mother's Day. We'll try to do that in the summertime, get clear of the holidays and all that. But we had already been heading that way, so when COVID hit, it didn't have as big of an impact on us because, yes, our stores are still have gift items, still have walk-in, but we found that the sales were higher on people ordering on the website, ordering over the phone. So, we tried to push people in that direction as much as possible.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit more about COVID. We're 10 or 11 months in at this point. You would think we would know everything, right, about how to deal with business at this point, but I think, if we could share some of your insights here, some of our viewers may be still struggling or trying to adapt, or perhaps you can share a few ways that you've adapted that might help them moving through the spring season, of course, into Mother's Day. So, Stacy, how are you adapting in your store in DC during COVID?
Well, we are still not allowing customers full access to the store. They can come only about 10 feet into or 10 yards into the shop to place orders or to pick out flowers. But we kind of merchandise everything around that area that they can come to. We have candles, we have small plants and things that they can, cards and things that they can easily pick up. But I'm pushing for us to reopen. Other folks are saying let's wait, especially the employees. they're pushing for us to kind of stay closed, not closed, but limited access. Sure. But I'm pushing for Mother's Day to be fully open.
That's great. That's really encouraging. And I think, the employees certainly are a consideration in that discussion, right? Right. That the owner has
keeping them safe.
Yeah, for sure. So Leah, how's that working for you guys? And are you having similar experiences?
We are. Initially, we closed our store for 3 months. The state of Connecticut asked that all non-essential business close, which was wiped out pretty much our entire spring. We brought, it was just my sister and I last year for Mother's Day, and we did not allow anyone into the store. Everything needed to be pre-ordered. They paid on a credit card. We had a small table outside our door. We placed the flowers on the table, returned to our store, and then the people were able to then get the flowers. Over the summer, we opened up probably less than Stacy's. Maybe it's about 6 feet into our store. Again, it's jam-packed with a little bit of everything we have. Perhaps not creatively displayed, but it's all there. And we are discussing now maybe increasing that square footage a little bit more. Now Connecticut is doing pretty well with the vaccinations. And so again, trying to find the balance between allowing access into our store and keeping ourselves and our employees safe. It is paramount that we, sort of weigh the pros and the cons of that. It is probably, like Stacy said, we will be maybe not fully open, maybe we'll be like 2/3 of the way open for Mother's Day, because quite frankly, I like having that extra space where we are able to store flowers and things like that. Additionally, we have found, rather than spending our budget on the more gifty types of things, we are focusing more on unique plants, containers, flowers, and containers for flowers. So if it has a flower on it, if I can put a flower in it, then we will entertain purchasing it.
So I have to ask, what did you just essentially do? Did you just sort of push your sales counter right towards the front door and kind of?
We built one that
Built one
went
for it.
across the width of the store. And that allowed, very limited access. So when I am by myself in the store and I'm working in the back, I am quite safe. I can take my mask off. I can work comfortably because there's probably 40 feet between myself and a customer walking in the door. I am never surprised then, or unsafe, or make someone else unsafe.
Yeah, great, thank you. And Jonathan, I know you just finished saying you sort of transitioned a little bit more in your business away from walk-in customers. So has this been a big effect for you, or how has it worked?
Yeah, Pennsylvania has done an awesome job with allowing us to kind of, get back open. Our stores have been open since last Mother's Day. We're obviously taking the proper safety precautions. I mean, one of the things that's probably different about these other ladies is that most of our team is not at that location. We're at another location designing at a different spot. So it's not like the building is taken up by a lot of employees. They're simply manned one or two people per shift. Obviously more on a holiday, but we found that people are still going to the store. I mean, we're still pushing those higher end sales on the phone and on the internet, but we have a nice resurgence of people going to the store. We did something similar to what Leah did. We took our counter was kind of in the middle of the store. We kind of moved it to the back. So did that in January so that we were ready for Valentine's Day and the long lines. And that way people could be nice and spaced out. So, and that worked out great. It did two things. It gave us more space in the store. Plus it forced people to walk past more merchandise when they were in the store. So, we have larger stores, so it was easier said than done for most places, but it was very effective for us.
Good. I'm sure it's a real balance for all of you to try to make a customer feel welcome, right? To whatever comfortable level that might be for both the consumer and the employees. So interesting conversation. Let's pivot a little now to social media. We touched on this a little bit last week. Specifically, though, how you might connect with customers with your social media. So, Stacey, we'll start with you. How do you use social media to connect directly to your customers?
Well, social media is a great platform to connect with customers. My sister is our social media guru, and she posts just everyday things, or takes a picture of something that. A photo of something that's just unique and puts it on there, and she gets a lot of recognition for that, and we get a lot of likes, and people come in and say, I want the same thing I saw that you posted on social media. Another thing is weddings. When we do weddings, we ask the bride to provide us some of her images that kind of feature flowers, and that's a great way to get your images out there. Social media is wonderful.
A vital part of your business.
Vital part of our advertising.
Yeah, excellent. Leah, how about you? Is social media important to your business these days?
Absolutely it is. We are not super traditional in our approach for social media. We have So in January of 2020, when we received a shipment of plants, we found a tree frog in one of the plants. We have since adopted him. He lives a very prince-like life now in his tank. And so that garnered a lot of information, a lot of interest. And so we post pictures of the frog. People call and ask how the frog is doing. We also do things where we call the month of August is our anniversary of us opening. So we will celebrate by hiding what we call the lonely bouquet, and we will move the bouquet throughout our town, and we will take a picture of it as a clue, and people will go to that location, and we'll try and figure out what the location is, go there, and then they win the lonely bouquet. So that is another opportunity to sort of engage with our community. We will have contests where people will, do you like this flower? Do you not like this flower? What do you think of this arrangement? Sort of asking their opinion, because they do feel like they have a vested interest in our business when we engage with them in that way.
Cool. And I've heard, but I've never actually seen it happen. There is a way to make that frog a prince, but up to you.
We just call him Frog Prince now.
Jonathan, I know that thank you, Leah. I know that you guys do a lot in social media. Can you kind of share with us some of the successes that you've had?
Yeah, it's a great form of free advertising, really. You can boost these things. I don't do any boosted posts, but someone asked in the chat, how do you get the message across? Tagging is very important. So if you're doing a wedding, like if we're doing a wedding at Hotel Bethlehem, we're always making sure we're tagging, Hotel Bethlehem. The tags are just huge. I mean, anything that you can tag along the way, if somebody, sees our banner at the hockey game or something, we're tagging not only the hockey team, the league, the arena, some of the players, that kind of stuff. And same thing could be said, if you're doing stuff at high schools, or you're doing stuff at, local ballet studio, tag these places, get the message out a little bit further, because if they interact with it, all the people that follow them will see those same things. So it's a great tool to use. It's something I think we've utilized very well. Like Stacy said, we're using original photos of the bouquets, and that brides and photographers are getting back to us, and coming up with our own content too. What are we doing? We do a lot, in the community and in sports across the country. So we're highlighting those things. We're highlighting the store when we change out the store for the season, that kind of stuff. I mean, just simple things like that. Just saying, hey, Easter's here. Hey, winter is here. This is what we have. And I think it's something that all florists need to find time to do. Even if you're not doing it on a daily basis, but a weekly basis, something like that, it's important to get the information out there. And, you'd be surprised what you can attract with social media. We've attracted very high-end customers just off of that, off them seeing something and reaching out to them that way. So it's definitely possible.
I think it gives you an opportunity too, to show how you're uniquely different from your competition, right? So,
right. I mean, we're all essentially selling the same thing. So, this is your story. This is what sets you apart. For St. Patrick's Day, I had on our social media, that my family came from Ireland. I had pictures of the Bethlehem Steel. That's where they worked before we did flowers. That's what we did. So, your story is definitely, all of our stories are definitely unique. So, and people want to hear that. They want a full experience. So just think outside the box on that.
Yeah. Good tips. So Leah, how do you use social media reviews in your business, and do you use those? How do you use those to grow your business?
Well, one of the things we do is we ask if someone has a positive experience. We always ask them, when they call us to thank us, we say, please share a review. So we garner more reviews that way. But additionally, if someone has a bad review and they post something on social media, we respond to all comments, good or bad. But responding to the bad allows the person to know that we hear what they said. Perhaps we will consider their point of view, change a practice of delivery, or customer service, but it gives them a voice and it validates their concern. So we can use it as an opportunity to turn like a truly horrid experience in their mind, because it grows and grows and grows and becomes, like the worst thing in the world, to something that was perhaps just only mildly annoying because of that validation.
Sure, makes perfect sense. Stacy, how do you guys use reviews? Business.
Well, good reviews, of course, we kind of post them onto our story on Instagram that stays up about 24 hours. And that usually gets a lot of attention. And similar to what Leah says, we do answer negative reviews, although we hope we don't get as many as we're glad we don't get that many, but when we do, and nobody's perfect, you do have to answer them in a positive way to make the situation right for your customer.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's an opportunity, really, and you shouldn't be afraid of them. The customer service is really a big part of our business, right? And to be able to embrace that, I think is truly an opportunity. It shouldn't be
to make it, yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan, how about you guys?
Same thing. I mean, most of them are positive. If they are positive, just being honest, I don't put much time into it. If they're positive, that doesn't really, nothing else really needs to be said. That customer's already really had a good experience, but definitely find time to answer the negative reviews. Like these other ladies have said, it is important that you do that. You may actually retain a customer out of doing that. Just be professional. Everybody gets upset, like we all know we don't send anything out that isn't nice. Whatever happens to it once it leaves, is beyond our control. So, try to take, the personal hate out of it and be professional, because most of the times you can turn those people into, longtime customers. I mean, customer service is so awful everywhere you go. That's one advantage that small business has, is that we have this type of customer service. So we need to execute on that if we have somebody that isn't happy.
Yeah, I think I would add one thing to that. I think the potential, as you mentioned, of saving a customer is huge. But then when you do save that customer and the number of people they may tell, could help grow your business. And the flip side of that, right, is the obvious. If you don't address those, then the number of people they could tell will hurt your business quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, great feedback. Let's pivot once again to order fulfillment. And Stacy, we're going to start with you. I'm really interested to hear how you kind of track your inventory and how do you manage your capacity, especially when you go through the busy season. So give an example. A customer orders, a certain container early, a couple of weeks out of the holiday. How do you ensure that customer will actually get that item?
Well, we recently started with our website management of putting certain things, like maybe a limited amount of arrangements on the website, and then that way we can pre-order the flowers that would be in there, and as well as the vases. So and so that does make you focus on your inventory and order those certain things. We did that for Valentine's, and we're planning to do that for Mother's Day. And we've had to, with COVID, we've had to increase our standing orders. And what we've done is just order the bestseller flowers, like Pink Floyd roses. I don't know if you guys have, most of the arrangements on our website have Pink Floyd roses in them. So we've had to increase that standing order substantially, and always have to order more by the end of the week. So that's how you have to just know what's on your website and have those things available.
Yeah, there's a little hidden nugget right in there, Stacy, that I want to call out, and that is, you guys love Pink Floyd roses. I know I'm familiar with the variety and love it as well. Good vase life, nice head size, right? Always opens, performs well. Yeah. And that is a great little nugget for anybody to take away, to understand what varieties you're using, which ones you're successful with, test them, and then reorder. Also know the farms, because that just improves your business down the road. So just wanted to call that out a little bit.
Absolutely.
Jonathan, how about you guys? How do you guys track your inventory?
Tracking inventory kind of starts with pre-ordering, is going off of data from the previous year. We create a nice spreadsheet system. Actually, just did it with my dad today, looking at Mother's Day already. What did we order last year? We'll put some notes in there. Did we have too much? Did we not have enough? We try to track what we pick up in between as well, too. So it kind of starts with that. And then as the holiday is starting to go on, we'll actually create a filing system of the best sellers. So we'll take, the top 20 or 30 items and have them separated by days. You can drop them right in there so that when the designers go to make them, they're already clipped together. Somebody's staying there making all of them in one shot. So if we got 30 sweet surprises, we know we've got 30 sweet surprises for that Wednesday of the holiday. We've got 20 of them for this day. It makes the product flow a little bit better too. And also as we're making in advance, we can see, okay, what's selling and what's not selling. So the filing system is awesome, and the charts for codified. Just take a numbered chart for codified. It might sound like the simplest thing possible. It's easier for us because we don't sell the codified items in the store. We just sell them for FTD. But as we're selling them, we just mark them off. We have a sheet, 48 to, however many we have, and just give them numbers, mark them off, make it much easier on you to be able to follow inventory as you're processing those orders. So just some simple things that can be done that can really, speed up the process on a holiday, or at least give you an idea of where you're at with things.
Yeah, that's super important. Leah, how about you guys? Do you have a sophisticated tracking system, or how does it work?
We sort of go super old school, where if we have 5 arrangements that FTD is featuring, we get stickers that are 5 different colors. We count out how many containers we have, and so when that container is sold, we take that colored sticker and we put it on the order form, so that we know when we look at the sheet, oh my goodness, here we are 10 days before the holiday and we're running low on containers. We have an opportunity to reorder. It's, for me, very visual. It's super quick. And it's sort of the visual reminder because of the colors. When we're fulfilling orders, there nothing bad about FTD, but a lot of times their names are somewhat similar. And so we make sure that we are creating the correct order for that particular moment.
Yeah, no, and we would never take offense by anything like that, right? And I think we're getting better at that and not making them as much the same as they used to be. So, but it just goes to show you, right? A good tracking system would help you through that type of a situation.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the feedback. The next question, we're going to talk a little bit about substitution. And Leah, I'm going to stay right here with you. And also, we keep our ear to the ground, and I imagine that you guys too do as well. So kind of a two-parter. How do you guys handle substitution in your store? Is there training? Is there tools that the designers use? And I guess I'll fold this all in together. We're hearing that the market is getting pretty tight for Mother's Day and going through Easter here in April. Weather issues, I think, in South America, there's some, COVID is still a problem. Logistics are still a problem. So, I think this ties together really well to have a good plan going into that. So if you can kind of talk a little bit about how you might address those.
Sure. So in our partnership, my sister that owns the shop with me, she does the majority of the math. So all of the bookkeeping, all of that kind of thing. And I am the designer. So substitutions are sort of fall under my category. And what we try to do is as much as we can substitute with a similar flower. If, for example, Best Day, which uses purple azianthus in it, if we are having some trouble getting the purple azianthus, we might substitute with the purple tulip. It's a very similar shape. It has a similar cost to it, and I can get it in the same color. from a distance, when you're looking at the bouquet, it is complimentary. So we are able to do that. The other thing that we do is if we have to make too many substitutions, we will inform FTD or the customer that, you know, I know you ordered this on our website and the truck isn't here, or, you know, whatever has occurred. And keeping them informed really allows us to put the ownership back with the person who has placed the order. Do you want us to move forward with it today? Do you want to wait a day? Do you want to cancel it altogether? What can we do to work together to make the end result be a happy occasion?
Excellent. Yeah. I think two main call outs, right? And you just pointed right at them, and that's color and value. And I think if you can find a way to adjust to those two things, that any consumer, it should be seamless. The consumer should not even really realize that there's been a substitution if it's very thoughtful. So I appreciate your viewpoint on that. Jonathan, how about you guys? What do you guys do from a kind of an education?
Just kind of playing off what Leah said. Communication is definitely key. I think that the customer is, especially with COVID, I think is more understanding than they ever were. You know, if you're really going to have to make some changes, let them know, let your wire services know, just kind of keep everybody in the loop there. But I think that that overall, the general consumer is definitely, you know, more willing to take a substitution or more willing to wait another day or two just to make sure they get exactly what they want. So there's definitely a change in consumer behavior on that. But rotating your inventory every day is very key to substituting. If you're seeing something's running out, you can start ordering that. So, you know, definitely keep an eye on your inventory on an everyday basis as well, too. That will eliminate a lot of these substitution questions. You know, you see you're running low on white daisies, know that before you leave at the end of the day, you got to order those or whatever your wholesaler's cutoff is. Make sure that you're going to order from them before their cutoff is, based on what you need. So always make sure that you're rotating your product and looking at what you're rotating.
Totally agree. You know, one of the things here, and this won't be a question, it'll just be a statement from me. I just share with the viewers that on ftdi.com, you know, this team, the panel here today has a great insight already how to handle sub-guidance. But if you ever have questions or you're not quite sure, on ftdi.com under like the holiday tools or the bestsellers tabs, the team puts together really nice enhanced sub-guidance with visuals and things like that for every SKU that we have in our top 25 each month and for the holidays. So it's a great guide to put down, you know, next to a designer at a table if there are any questions. So if anybody's looking for any type of a tool to kind of share or lead their teams with, I would definitely welcome you to kind of go to FTDI and check those out. Let's talk a little bit about delivery. And again, we're looking to really provide that exceptional customer experience. So one of the things I hear all the time is staffing up for holidays, right? So Stacy, do you have any tips or tricks or anything to help find drivers in these days, especially when we get to peak periods?
Well, in our area, Keith, well, we find that that's the driver position is one of the hardest positions for us to fill after designers, of course. But and I don't know if it's because of the Uber and Lyft, those kind of ride share and DoorDash and all of that, people are doing it for themselves. But in the past, we've reached out to fire stations because firemen only work like 3 days on, 4 days off. And they know the city and the area. So we've reached out to firemen, and we also rely a lot on my husband and my sisters, like family members, to come in on those holidays when we really need them. They have their regular day jobs, but on those holidays, they do come in and help us, sometimes take off from their jobs to help us. But that's one of our toughest positions in this area to fill.
Right. I like the family approach, right? They're usually expensive, sometimes free,
Yeah.
and dependable. So
Yes.
I always leverage that when I could.
Yeah.
Leah, how about you? Any tips on finding good delivery help?
We are totally blessed. The majority of our holiday delivery people return for each of the holidays. And yes, Stacy, husbands, fathers, brothers, all of them, anyone that we can rope into delivering for us. Absolutely, we work on kind of scheduling ahead of time. And so many people will say like, oh, delivering flowers is such a great job. And we always take their phone number and say to them, there's holidays coming. And if you're serious, we'll call you. And if they have a good experience, then and they're enjoying it and they are dependable, then we will write their name down in the holiday book for the next upcoming holiday.
That's great. I often found that if you had a well-run team, that people will come back and they enjoy it. They think it's fun, which is
right.
a great thing. Jonathan, how about you? How do you guys manage to keep that driver staff, or what do you do if you find yourself in a position where you're short-staffed?
I think that the software that FTD has, the Mercury app, the mobile app is awesome. I think that really streamlines things. If anybody watching isn't utilizing that, definitely talk to FTD about that. The routing, makes things a lot faster, makes it easy for them. We do basically what the other lady said. We're taking anybody with a car and a smartphone, and it doesn't take much to train them. If they know how to use a smartphone, it's very simple for them to snap a picture and get going. So thank you to FTD for having such great technology for us and making it very easy for us. If somebody says, well, is my delivery on the truck? Where's my delivery? We have all that information in real time. But we do incentive-based pay for our drivers. So they're paid by the stop. They're not paid hourly. So that oftentimes really helps motivate people. We're looking for highly motivated people. We're looking for somebody who's going to be efficient and successful with the deliveries. So I think that brings a lot of people back, the fact that, it's incentive-based pay and there's going to be a ton of deliveries. So I think you just have to come up with creative ways to do that. And we use veteran drivers to train the new drivers. Maybe it takes 15 minutes out of their day just to train somebody. It's very simple. So cross-training people is always, for us, is always done on a buddy system type thing where a veteran's paired up with somebody new, and we have awesome results from that.
I think that incentive to get them to hustle a little bit, the more they take, the more they make, I think is kind of a good approach, right? So let's stay right here with you, Jonathan, and as we move to the next question. And that is, so you're faced with a ton of different deliveries, right? And some are residential, some are businesses, perhaps a funeral, all sorts of different things baked in. Do you prioritize deliveries? How do you decide what goes first? How do you handle time deliveries on a holiday? What is that thinking when it comes down to laying out the path?
Yeah, I mean, funerals are obviously the first priority. We want to make sure those things go. If something is going to go early in the morning, we'll check with the funeral home to see if they'll take it the day before and just kind of make things a little bit easier. Drop that off in the afternoon. We know the product's going to be good. We know it's going to hold up, and most of the funeral homes are pretty lenient on that. But businesses obviously are our first priority, right? We know if it's going to a house, somebody's probably going to be home all day or they're going to return home. So one of the things that we'll do on a holiday is we won't promise any times. We'll get 2 addresses. So if somebody's, at work, we'll basically play it off on the customer by saying, hey, if they're sick, if they leave work early on Valentine's Day in the Northeast here, it can snow. So we'll say, well, if there's bad weather, anything else, can you provide us with a second address? That way, if something goes haywire, we have another address and your piece doesn't get held up. That is a huge success. And something that can be played off on the customer a little bit easier to our advantage versus them looking at it as a negative, if worded correctly.
it is hard when customers expect, right, theirs to be delivered first. Everybody wants to be first. So I'm sure it's tough to have that balance. And so Stacy, how do you guys prioritize in your shop?
Well, during the holidays, we rent vehicles to make sure we have enough delivery capacity. Uh, and sometimes you can't find people with big enough vehicles to carry as many deliveries, so we rent them, and we set expectations with the customers, similar to what Jonathan was saying about the time deliveries. We always give first priority to our funerals because they're normally in the mornings, and then we recently started saying no time deliveries besides the funerals, because it gets to be too much, and we don't want to disappoint people. So that's renting vehicles and setting expectations is what I would say for us.
Yeah. Kind of going back to that staff question, to be prepared for what you've already set your capacity to be at, which is great.
Right.
Great approach. So Leah, we're going to pivot to you now. Delivery confirmations, right? This is a part of the business that, sometimes is scrutinized a little bit, but I think the whole idea here, right, is again, for that customer experience. There's many companies out there, Amazon, UPS, that all allow people to understand where their order is in the life cycle. So, and customers want to know, when is my package arriving? Has it arrived? When you're the recipient, it's a little bit different if you've ordered and sent to yourself. When you're the sender, you're sort of flying blind until you get that message. So how do you handle delivery confirmations in your store? How do you train your drivers? Has there been any change, I think, with contactless delivery? If you can kind of walk us through how confirmations work for you guys.
Sure. So we are providing what we call contactless delivery. Our delivery people will pull into a driveway. They will place the flowers on like the door, the step, the porch. They return to their vehicle, and then they call the recipient and say, we have just left flowers on your front porch. That allows the delivery person to be a good distance away. We had started calling in the driveway as we approached the car, and invariably people were opening up the door and coming out on the porch and holding their hands out to try and get it, which is then not a contactless delivery. Didn't get that. So that is one of the ways that we have changed. Additionally, we take pictures if somebody tells us the recipient may be in and out all day long. We will place the flowers and take a picture of the arrangement to ensure that we have fulfilled their desire to have something delivered. We will in any moment, if there is a safer place to leave the flowers, since we are super rural out where we are, and we know that the recipient will be home, we will place the flowers and then take a picture of it. Our delivery people don't actually send the delivery confirmations. They are returned to the store with a sheet, and then either my sister or I do the delivery confirmations, because it's an opportunity for us to look at where things have gone, who has received the flowers, and oftentimes make a secondary phone call that said, you said you were going to be home by 2 and now it's 4 o'clock, and just wanted to make sure you did go home and you did receive your flowers in good condition. And that seems to, again, that extra moment of touching that order has eliminated a lot of issues.
That's amazing follow-up that I would love for all florists to do if they can and find the time, right? Because it really does ensure that package is there safely and well received. So appreciate that. Jonathan, how about you guys? What are you doing for delivery confirmations?
utilize the Mercury app, as I was just talking about previously. I actually won't hire a driver without a smartphone, anymore. If you're going to deliver, you need a smartphone. I won't give them one. Everybody has one, so you're going to have to use your own. But I think it just makes life so much easier. I mean, especially we all get the inquiries back from customers, the wire service. What did the piece look like? Did you have to substitute something? It's right there. It's really easy to click that link, send it back to the consumer, send it back to the wire service, and say, here's a piece. By the way, here's also the GPS coordinates, a picture of their house, and the time we dropped it off. So I think that you guys have done a phenomenal job of having that technology in place. So kind of making life a little bit easier on us. By doing these things in real time, if somebody calls to check, we can say, okay, you're 5th or 6th on the list. Okay, you're 20 minutes out, or oh, he was there an hour ago. So it is kind of nice. And I found that, we did do things the way that Leah did it in the past. And I found that it saved a lot of time, not having to sit and key all that back in, and answered a lot of CSI issues, that we had going on. Where is my piece? Where is it at? So I think that FTD has done a phenomenal job with that. So thank you for that technology.
Appreciate that. So let me ask you a follow-up. So by using the delivery service piece of the point of sale, does that give the store visibility to where the driver's at on a real-time basis?
It does, yeah. So anybody in the shop can hop on a computer there and say, okay, well, maybe there's another timepiece coming in. Maybe it's 1 o'clock and the driver's be somewhere at 3. You can easily look on the app and see, he has 5, 6 stops, or maybe he's got to go further out, but he's close. He can grab that piece and take that timepiece, in the process there. So I think just overall, I would encourage a lot of people watching, get on that app, get your people used to using that app, and take full advantage of it, because there's definitely multiple assets of that, not only from the routing aspect, but all the way up to a customer service inquiry a week later. A lot of those things don't happen the same day; they happen days after. We can say, well, we were at that location. Here it is. It's easy to email someone. It's just like the same thing that UPS has. If you have a package lost with UPS, they send you the same thing. So I think it's awesome that us as small businesses have access to that.
Yeah, awesome. How about you, Stacy? What?
Just echoing what Jonathan said. Here's the Mercury app. We love it. I wake up in the morning and I look on the app. How many deliveries do we have today? And it tells me, and and that sets the pace of my day, knowing how many deliveries we have, and so we love the app. It's easy to use. I'm not trying to sell it, but I'm just saying it's a great resource for us. And when you leave something, you can take a photo. It automatically sends the picture to the customer by email, and so the sender, and so it's just a great. I can't talk it up enough. That's one of our best resources.
Yeah, that's amazing, and really both of you, thank for sharing. And we, not a planned commercial at all. These are 2 actual users of this tool, and it just kind of goes to show you how technology, when it's completely used, and all the facets that are involved in it, I think it really can be beneficial. I do have one, and I know we're running a little long in time, but I have one follow-up question for you, Stacy. What do you do if somebody's not home? What do you do with the delivery at that point? You might have lost her for a minute.
Yeah, you lost me. Well, I'm sorry. What was the question?
So the question was, what do you do if somebody's not home? So we know what you do when they're home. If they're not home, what do you do with the package?
So we do take a photo, and we leave it there. It depends on the weather too. So in the extreme cold or the extreme hot, we wouldn't leave it there. But we do also call the customer, the recipient, because that's one thing that we tell every salesperson, to get the recipient's phone number. And so we call them to let them know that there is a package at their door. Also, the photo of the package.
and then reschedule if you have to, if you can't.
Right, absolutely, yes.
And I think the communication piece of that is really important. So letting the recipient know, and I think also letting your fellow florists know, or the wire service, whoever it may be, what the disposition is. So, really helps when a customer then calls in and wonders what is, where is my package, that type of a thing. So a quick answer like that, I think, is beneficial to everybody. So you guys are amazing. That wraps my questions, planned questions for today. Janet, do we have any questions from the attendees?
It's been pretty quiet, but I do have a question, and I just want to thank Jonathan, Leah, Stacy for spending another afternoon with us, sharing your insights, your best practices, lots of great tips, especially if I owned a flower shop. I don't, but hopefully other florists will be watching, listening, and get some great info from here. So just as a reminder, if you guys do have questions, type them in the chat. But has anyone used DoorDash to assist with deliveries?
We've done that when FTD first started doing it. We used it. We liked it, but then it's a little limited because when you don't know the driver, it's a little harder because, well, we had one bad experience where they didn't really do the research to find the customer and they brought it back. You've already paid for the service through the third party, but then your product didn't get delivered. So that, I don't know, it's probably a good service, and if they fine tune it a little bit, we may use it again.
Yeah, I think that's great feedback, Stacy, and I think we rolled it out. I'm gonna say about a year ago, and I think there's been a lot of changes to the program, and so as you know, there's usually a few bumps, but I think for that close radius to the store, there's a lot of situational times that I would probably think that it might be something too good to use. Just check with your FTD rep and see.
Will do.
Thanks for the feedback.
All right, there was a question that just popped in. I know Jonathan just asked it, but when you do have to do the delivery again because the recipient's not home, for Leah or Stacy, do you charge an amount?
We do not.
No.
One of the things we do, though, is when we tag the door that says we attempted to make a delivery and the person isn't home to receive the flowers, we will offer them the opportunity to come into the store and pick the arrangement up. Oftentimes they will do that if it means they get the flowers the same day, because we won't return on the same, or I shouldn't say never. It is rare for us to return to the same area. If they do come to the store, we give them a small gift. Usually it's just a little box of chocolates or something. So, and to thank them for coming in and getting them, because it's nice not to have to drive back out there.
See, I never would answer the door if you were delivering the meal leave. If I knew chocolates on the other end, I would come get my package every time.
There you go. Well, we would figure that out and we would just pretend we delivered and be like, Keith, come get your flowers and your chocolates.
Some things only work once. Yeah.
All right, well, it doesn't look like there's any more questions. So thanks everyone for attending. A recording of this will be available on demand on the FTD Mercury Network Florist YouTube channel. And for more education programming from FTD, visit ftdi.com to register for any upcoming free webinars and design shows, as well as being able to view past education programs that are on demand. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.